All right, story number two. Big shout out to Shaboozey. I've been covering Shaboozey as part of the chart report each week. So I've been covering what's been happening on the Hot 100 primarily the Hot 100, because I think the Hot 100 is really an interesting look at the macro landscape. Like, where is rap competing against other genres? So it's kind of interesting to me to see the biggest songs, and truthfully, in other genres that I'm not generally listening to that much. But Shaboozey's A Bar Song Tipsy has now been number one on the Hot 100 for 14 straight weeks. 14 straight weeks. Tying for second longest rookie reign. Now, Billboard just did the story here. I don't have the full charts yet. I'll definitely cover those separately this week. But I wanted to point out this article because there's a couple of really interesting things that happened in this article I'm about to share with you guys. One, again, this has been a year where countries received a lot of criticism because of their refusal or reluctance to accept Beyonce as a country artist. They call her a pop artist. They say she's not country. She's country leaning, which may or may not be the case. But the thing that I've also had people point out to me about where modern country is that it's leaning heavily into hip hop and pop music itself. Like, you know, there's a whole lot of bottle popping, velvet ropes happening in country. You're starting to hear more 808s over there, generally speaking, which is another reason why I think country is going global in a different kind of way than what we're normally used to, per different reports. But while there's criticism about country's reluctance to accept Beyonce, you got Shaboozey sitting on the top of the charts for 14 weeks in a row. 1 second applause. So I think that's a really dope story on its own. And it shows just how country is growing, but also how in a lot of ways, perhaps, it's becoming more diverse. Shaboozey is also an Empire success story. So it's an independent label. They started their country division 5-7 years ago, something like that. And now they've got the number one song in the country for 14 weeks. This might be the biggest song in the history of the company. It might be. Empire put out Section 80, for example. So there's been a lot of incredible things that have come through that imprint. But this might be the biggest song ever. Just might be. But this Shaboozey story really makes me think about Tommy Richman. Shaboozey in this story does everything Tommy Richman didn't do last week. And I would like to highlight the difference between Shaboozey and Tommy Richman. All right, so we're going to get there. It's not a very long article, but I definitely want to point this out. But let's talk about Shaboozey for a second. Shaboozey's A Bar Song Tipsy orders a 14th round at number one on the Billboard Hot 100. The song, which became the singer-songwriter's first leader in July, extends 2024's longest reign and moves to within 2 weeks of tying the longest command this decade. Morgan Wallen's fellow country pop crossover smash, Late Night, led for 16 weeks in 2023. This is an example, country pop crossover smash. This is what's happening in a lot of countries diversifying its sound. Plus, as A Bar Song Tipsy became Shaboozey's first Hot 100 entry with no other billed acts, it ties for the second longest number one stay among all such breakthrough hits, with only Lil Nas X's debut Old Town Road, featuring Billy Ray Cyrus, having led longer for an overall record 19 weeks in 2019. We talked about Billy Ray Cyrus and how, you know, when people tried to separate him from Lil Nas X and give him credit for that number one and downplay Lil Nas X, his song and his influence on the success of that record, Billy Ray Cyrus held up a whole sign that said, "I would not have this number one if it wasn't for Lil Nas X." 1 second applause for Billy Ray Cyrus. A Bar Song Tipsy additionally furthers the longest number one run of 2024 on the multi-metric Hot Country Songs chart, adding an 18th week in the top spot. All right, now we're getting to where Tommy Richman punched himself in the face. We need more Shaboozeys and less Tommy Richmans. Check this out. A fan of multiple musical styles, upon discovering music, Shaboozey found country to be the thing that resonated with him in a really strong way. Me being from Virginia, me loving the style and the way of life, and the things they talked about, it all seemed very peaceful. It seemed like I could be real. I found country music could teach people that the little things in life are where the value is. Just having a working truck that you could take your girl to ride to a cliff and watch the sunset is enough. Is enough. The simpler things in life. Then he says, I love hip hop. I'm a part of their community too. That's what I want to do with my music, be disruptive and show people that music is progressing. I love hip hop. I'm a part of their community too. 1 second applause for that answer. That's all Tommy Richman had to do. Tommy Richman jumped out the window, throwing out tweets. I'm not a hip hop artist, and his debut album, Coyote, sold 9,000 records. Caused all kinds of friction because he's drawing lines in the sand. And Shaboozey is a great example of being able to be hip hop while not being a rapper. There are tons of artists who are hip hop, but aren't rappers. Mary J. Blige is hip hop. She's not a rapper. Lauryn Hill made arguably the greatest album in hip hop history, Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. Apple Music said so. I don't know if that album is 51% rap. I feel like it's a hip hop album, but I don't know. I think it's more of an R&B album. Jill Scott, 100% hip hop. You don't even have to make music to be hip hop. I just went to the Red Bull BC1 championships. Those cats weren't rapping. That was hip hop all day. You can be of the culture and not be a rapper. And Shaboozey understands that. And his hit is a great example of collaboration across boundaries. He was able to take his hip-hop influences, place it within country while being accepted by country, and still claim hip-hop without rapping. You can do these things. He's bringing worlds together, and he's got his 14th, he's on his 14th week at number 1. Same year $1 Million Baby came out. Same year. Tommy Richman, I'm not a hip-hop artist. Whatever, I'm not a rapper, whatever. Just throwing things out there because sometimes people don't like they don't want to color themselves or they don't want to be boxed in. Nobody's boxing Shaboozey in. He's able to be both because he's open to both and he's accepting of both and he's accepted by both. He had a great performance at the BET Awards this year. So I thought this story was all the way interesting. Big shout out to Shaboozey. Congratulations on 14 weeks at number 1. I love that answer. He loves hip hop. He's a part of the hip hop community too. Let me know what you guys think about this. My name is Justin Hunt. Like, subscribe to the channel. Follow @TheCompanyMan on everything. It's all happening.
Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. The mathematical breakdown of this mighty game of rap we in. It's boom bapping. Systematical culture views, it's radical, it's all happening. Shaking hands and dabbing it. Life through the lens of hip hop, from trip hop to yes, dog. You don't stop, you don't stop. Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. It's all happening, yes, it's all happening. Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. It's all happening, yes, it's all happening.